Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel. It's time for another one of our watch-alongs, and we thought, let's give Carl Wilkinson an education in British wrestling. Because let's be honest, Britain has been one of the premier homes of professional wrestling for many decades. Now, this match is obviously something I'm really excited about. A few people might know that my granddad was a huge fan of wrestling. He sadly passed on before I was born, and he was particularly a huge fan of Big Daddy, who a lot of people will know as an absolute legend of this business. World of Sport, of course, British wrestling is some of the all-time greatest British wrestling. In fact, Daniel Bryan has cited on many an occasion a lot of guys from Ring of Honor and that kind of era of independent wrestling. Some of the best technicians that you know have all cited that World of Sport style of wrestling. Rollerball Rocco, the Dynamite Kid, Davey Boy Smith, William Regal, their history, their quality of wrestling, the ability to wrestle in the way they do, and also even the NXT UK brand now, which has British heritage rules, that all stems from World of Sport. So yeah, as you know, I'm Aaron X, he's Carl Wilkinson. We're gonna watch Big Daddy versus Scrapper Daly from an episode of World of Sport. Carl Wilkinson, are you ready to take yourself down memory lane and really get an education on what British wrestling used to be all about?
I am, because the last Big Daddy I saw was Viscera, and that was not flattering.
Big Daddy V! Big Daddy is quite literally royalty in this country. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. At one point, he was as popular as the royal family. This is the big nature of him, not just in size, but in stature, in character as well. So, in 3, 2, 1, play.
Thank you, Brian.
Those are some American collar ropes.
Ready then to come into the ring with Big Daddy.
I love this. Such an notice the hush over the crowd as well. Now, welcome to World of Sport Wrestling here, and we'll be taking the first tune-up very soon. Notice how they don't have
Big Daddy in here! Where is it?
Like no entrance music?
No, not everybody had them. You gotta remember, the Freebirds were one of the first sort of real factions of wrestling. A lot of wrestlers never used to come out to music. It was them. They used to come out to music, and that was like a real rarity. Oh, hello.
We shall not be moved.
But it's a that's gonna win the League One championship. We should not be. Oh, sorry. That's very football-esque. Look at a football scarf in the background. I love that. I'm assuming this is Scrapper Daly, and he certainly looks like a scrubber. And he about to die. Let's be honest.
I like seeing the elderly gentlemen and like on the opposite side of the hard cam, just like their legs crossed, just sitting there like, yes, indubitably, yes, of course.
Very good, yes. Here he comes. Look how the kids used to be allowed to hang around the wrestlers and that. They still do that to this day at a lot of indie shows. The kids will run out and run in front of the wrestler and get high fives and stuff. Look at the way he's dressed, bless him.
I mean, you just say every time we watch this, we kind of get a look like a King Kong Bundy, and I mean that in no disrespect.
Yeah, who was Bundy in the last one? You can see why he's called Big Daddy.
Well, he is a large lad, is he not?
He is indeed. Do you know what his real name was?
No.
Shirley Crabtree.
That's the best wrestling name I've ever heard.
Yeah, right? You should have gone with that. Imagine if a wrestler came out now, Shirley Crabtree. Look at that. He's got scarves. Proper made knitted scarves dedicated to him. Nobody's got that now. Except for the Grizzly Gun veterans.
5 minutes each round. 2 falls, 2 submissions, or a knockout to decide your winner.
2 falls, 2 submissions.
I love this. This is everything. Like, there's going to be people who watch this and scoff at it, and they're like, oh, this is silly and dumb and kind of. This, everything you love about wrestling stems from things like this. is particularly when it comes to the British and European style.
The captain of the All-Stars, friend of the children, Big Daddy.
Did you have friend of the children?
That's how never fly anymore.
That's yeah, right. But that's also that's how you sell yourself as a face. It's like, how are you going to boo him now? Like, oh great, thanks.
The score 2-2. Big Daddy's All-Stars 2. Haystacks Wrecking Crew 2, but he's got Scrapper Daly.
Did you hear that? Haystacks Wrecking Crew. Haystacks was Loch Ness in WCW.
Seconds away, round 1.
This should be interesting.
5-minute rounds again.
That ring is very American-inspired, isn't it?
Yeah, the red, white, and blue were hopes.
Jeff K, the referee.
Don't forget though, the Union Jack is red, white, and blue as well.
That's true.
Big lock up. Big boys lock up. Scrapper Daly is somebody you'd expect to see in like a barn in 1960s NWA, isn't it? That's the kind of thing you'd expect to see. What do you think of the setup?
And outside the ring, believe it or not, Giant Haystacks
It looks...
coming to see what his
They're not body guys, are they?
No, I mean, you realistically, they weren't really body guys until, you know, steroids were injected into the asses of Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior.
I believe that's Haystacks at ringside. I mean, he was necessary. Fucking hell.
The immovable force meets the unstoppable object, or the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. I ruined it.
Between a rock and a hard place.
At least this ring's more than 20 centimeters off the floor.
That's very true. Oh, I tell you what, how gorgeous is the venue? Oh wow, he got counted out just like that.
What was it? At 1 count?
Not making the count by 2 seconds.
2-second count.
It was very unique rules. Oh, hello. I'd get out if I was you, bud. Jesus, that was the harshest Irish whip I've seen in a long time. They don't do them like that anymore. Count of 10, that was one rapid count, wasn't it?
Wait, what? Is it already over?
It's over. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen.
What?
So yet another one coming up between Speed and Dennison.
Bit of a weird one, that one.
Triple tag. Be back with us.
What?
The crowd loved it though, didn't they? That shows you how simple wrestling can be. You know, what was it, 2 minutes long?
If that.
But look at everyone's got everyone's singing his song, everyone's got his merch. That was something else. So maybe not the finest example of wrestling in terms of world of sport, but the reason I wanted to cover that is because, and obviously we're going to do loads of these watch-alongs, so there's plenty more to get involved in. But first of all, it's very short, which always helps. But I also wanted you to see the simplistic nature of wrestling, because Big Daddy, and Giant Haystacks were never great wrestlers. They were entities. They were celebrities. They were body, not body guys in the sense of like, they looked like Adonis, but they were huge. They were larger than life. They were like comic book characters. And when Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks walked down the street, people would just mob them. But this is in an era as well. These guys would go down a pub and have a drink, and you'd see them in your local diner having breakfast. They didn't live a luxurious lifestyle. They didn't live in huge houses with fast cars like modern wrestlers do now. They didn't live like Roman Reigns or John Cena does. But these guys were genuinely historic, really historic, which is really sad, because like Giant Haystacks is now remembered as kind of like this joke because of his little run in WCW as Loch Ness. I don't know if you remember it, from the mid-90s, and then he died of a heart attack pretty soon after that. But they picked him up like 10, 20 years after his prime. At that point, he was well past his prime. Haystacks and Big Daddy was the greatest rivalry this country arguably has ever seen in any kind of sport. If you take away football rivalries, that was probably the most vicious blood rivalry possible. These two Leviathans, it really was our version of Godzilla and King Kong. So probably not the best example, but a little taster for you, mate, of what is to come. I think we'll go in with something a little bit more technical for you, so you can see the real intricacies of wrestling.
Yeah, that was, like, I enjoyed it. I think it was fun for what it was. I just wasn't expecting, like, a 2 count on the outside. That threw me off. You know, when he was knocked down for apparently 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't a 10
it was
count.
no.
There are some fun rules though, and I don't think they use this in the current heritage rules in NXT UK. But I distinctly remember back in the World of Sport days, whenever you knocked a competitor down, for instance, you gave him a shoulder block or whatever, the referee would start counting, and if you didn't make a 10 count, just like in boxing, for instance, when they get knocked down, then they would throw the match out. And I've seen loads of matches from World of Sport get thrown out with guys like Roy Regal and stuff, where they've had to throw the match out because they haven't been able to answer a 10 count. You know, that was what was cool about wrestling, because to these people it was real. You know, they thought it was real. This was the vintage, proper old school grannies with the handbags. Get off get off my hero, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's something that is truly, embedded in the tradition and the culture of this country in wrestling. You know, this is why I consider myself a historian and somebody who's really passionate about the sport, because I love stuff like that. Yeah, it's not technically the most pleasing thing to watch, but it's the vibe and the aura of it. And it's lovely to see people go and watch it and believe what they're watching, as opposed to a lot of the bastardized stuff that you get nowadays, which frankly doesn't match up.
Yeah, that was. I think I'd have to watch more before I could really go, man, that was awesome, or what the hell was this? But just if I take that in a snapshot, I mean, it was enjoyable. It was just a big, shock to the system, I guess. Just going, whoa, wow, okay.
There were two real aspects to World of Sport. One was the big characters, and then the other was the real hardcore world-class technicians like Marty Jones and Roy Regan and guys of that nature. So, when you get your hands on that, you'll probably appreciate it more. But I think we'll leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. As always, leave in the suggestions what you want us to do a watch along of next. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen today. I know it's a little bit slow paced and a little bit different from what we normally do, but it can't all be hilarious, stupid death matches. But yeah, as I say, as always, leave a suggestion below and we will no doubt cover it in the future. Until then, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Myself and Carl Wilkinson will catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.